Good afternoon, everyone. It is 1 o'clock on Saturday, June 4th. With the weather as it is, it's hard to believe it's June, but it is. Victoria has just come in, so I'll let her come on in. This is Western Liberty Network's weekly Saturday 1 p.m. training session. We do these almost every week. We skip a week once in a while if it's a holiday or some other such occasion, but generally it's every week. And I'll show you how to access these in just a moment. Western Liberty Network is a 501c3 organization. As such, we do not and cannot endorse any candidate or oppose any candidate or political party. And we also do not take positions on ballot measures or legislation. What we do is provide grassroots limited government activists on training related to skills that they need to be politically successful. And then folks that receive our training are then free to use that training in any way they like. Our idea is to reweave the fabric of our political culture by building farm teams of trained local elected officials and appointed officials, citizen lobbyists, and trained citizen volunteers who are able to successfully do politics wherever they live. And so we're going to begin our training in just a moment. I do a couple of introductory things. I'm going to do them right now. I'm going to share the screen right here. Okay, right now you should see the Western Liberty Network website on your screen. When you type in www.westernlibertynetwork.org, you'll be redirected to this screen. This is our home page. And on the home page, you will see what we're doing right now. For example, right here at the top, we have a notice advertising the training that is taking place right now. And of course, all of you signed on with this Zoom button. Scroll down more, and you've got some other resources. We talk about different things that WLN has done. For example, up top here, we've got our recent Klamath Falls Training Conference. And on the right, we always have some resources. Here's a recording of one of the training sessions that took place during that conference. And here's some PowerPoint slides. And here is sort of a PowerPoint deck in PDF form that shows you what happened at the conference. If you click on any of these, you'll see them come up, and you can scroll down and use whatever resources you like. Scroll down a little further and you see actual speeches. You can hear some speeches that we've had at previous conferences and various training documents that we've issued. A lot of resources are here. If you really want to see our training resources, put your mouse over here and go to our training page. On the training page, you'll see a brief discussion of the kinds of training offered by Western Liberty Network. You'll see a series of training documents. The one that I'm presenting today is brand new and will be on this list shortly. But if you were interested in lobbying, for example, you'd click on this one and it would give you this sheet. This is a training sheet. All of these sheets are designed to be provided in association with live trainings, but they stand up on their own. They have a lot of good information. You can use them as you wish. None of these items are copyrighted. So if you think any of these are helpful, you can copy them, distribute them, email them to your friends, whatever you want to do. At the bottom, we always have one file containing all of the above training documents, so you don't have to download these one at a time. If you go down a little further, you see our Saturday training session. I do a lot of these trainings, but I also have a lot of guest trainers come in to provide them. And we have about 1.5 years of these compiled. So just scroll down until you see a topic that you're interested in and just click on the image and the video will start to play. You can expand it to full screen or do whatever it is you want to do. Anyway, these training resources are all available to you free of charge. If you decide you really like what is going on with our organization, you can always help us out. You can make a tax-deductible contribution to Western Liberty Network. You can do it online by clicking on the Support WLN tab, and you can either make a one-time contribution or you can make a monthly automatic contribution. This all goes through PayPal, so you know it is fully secure. This helps us a lot. We're going to be doing a lot of training out in the field this summer. And you know what gas is like right now, and hotels are ridiculous and food is ridiculous. If we have to stay overnight and travel a significant distance, it can cost as much as $350 a day to be on the road providing live training. So if you want to help us out, we would be very grateful. The live training we're going to be providing, it will be done all over the state. And of course, we will augment that training with online on-demand offerings like we have right now. So with that, I'm going to stop the share and go back live. And so you should be able to see me and each other on your screen. And so again, if you want to make a comment during this presentation, feel free to unmute your microphone, make your comment, ask your question. And when you're finished, we ask that you remute your microphone so that we don't have echoes and all kinds of other audio problems. We do record these sessions, so if you see something of value in today's session, it will be on the page, the training tab that I just showed you, and you can share that with whoever you like who can't be with us live today. We actually, in some of the trainings, we actually have more people view the recording than are attending live. Okay, so today we're going to talk about developing a good campaign calendar as a candidate, a campaign manager, or an activist. I recognize a couple of your names up here. I know some of you are activists, some of you are candidates. Usually when people talk about designing a campaign calendar, they talk about it in terms of an election campaign. You might be a candidate. It's pretty obvious that you're going to want to have some kind of a good campaign calendar. If you're a campaign manager, the same applies. You're going to be working with a number of volunteers. You're going to be working with the calendar. You're going to be keeping track of events. It's good to keep an online calendar. But what doesn't happen very often is activists maintaining a campaign calendar. If you're an activist, you may be interested in helping 1, 2, or more campaigns, plus a ballot measure campaign, and a lot of other things. You're probably balancing your home life, your work life, and your political life. And so, an activist can benefit from a campaign calendar simply to organize their lives as much as a candidate or a campaign manager can. So this is really for everyone, and this has been designed for everyone. I'm going to upload to the chat window a document. As soon as I get to the right place here. Okay, I'm trying to upload this to the chat window. And it's not letting me do it. Okay, it's not letting me do it. So what I will do until it allows me to upload to the chat window, I'm going to bring up this document and I'm going to share the screen. Okay, thank you for your patience. And I'm going to share the screen now. Okay, here we go. You should see the document, developing a good campaign calendar as a candidate, campaign manager, or activist. If you want to download this document, I will have a link to it on the training tab of the westernlibertynetwork.org website. You will then be able to download the document. I've got a couple of other documents for you as well. But anyway, the first thing you're going to want to do is choose a platform to maintain your calendar on. I really, I used to be for years in support of paper calendars. There's just something, if you're old school like I am, about taking a pencil and having a paper and doing it. But, in today's life, it doesn't really work very well. If you're on, doing errands, bringing your kids to school, doing all of this stuff, you may use your phone, you may use your desktop. And if you have an online calendar, if you update it in one place, it's going to be updated everywhere, and you're going to be able to look at it and not have an out-of-date calendar entry simply because you haven't gotten home to look at your paper calendar and to update, what might be in your notebook. And if you're running a campaign with multiple people, or you're coordinating with other activists, you don't want to have a bunch of paper calendars where one person has a calendar that's current, another has one that's a day late, another one that's 3 days late, another one that's a week late. That is a good plan to make sure that you have chaos in your events, that you miss appointments, that you miss opportunities, you show up at something that's been canceled. You just don't want to do that. You want to make sure that everyone you're working with has the same information and that it's current and that it's up to date. So you're going to want to choose a platform. And I'm going to change the screen share, and I'm going to share something else. Okay, there are a lot of different ones. If you are running a very simple candidate or a simple campaign, or you're just planning your own activism, something like this is fine. I use Google Mail myself. I'm trying to get off of Google Mail. I'm actually trying to install my own web server that has its own, centralized calendar. But this is another one, Yahoo Mail, and you're able to make calendar entries and something like this. It doesn't cost any money. It's completely free, but it's fine if you're running, a candidate for cemetery control board, something small like that, or if you're an activist just doing something for yourself. It has other limitations too. The calendar just does calendar work, and you can use other tools like this to do different kinds of things. Like you can use, MailChimp for surveys. You can use Constant Contact for email blasts. A lot of different things. You need to put together different tools because the free tools, they're great, but they're generally limited in what they can do. But if you are running a small campaign, something like Yahoo Mail calendar application or Google Calendar is just fine. If you're running a larger campaign, you're going to want to try something else. One popular option is Basecamp. Basecamp does a lot more. This is its scheduling app. I'm focusing on that because we're talking about calendars today. But Basecamp lets you do a lot of things. In addition to doing calendar work, it also allows you to coordinate projects, assign to-do lists. You're able to do contact management with donors, media contacts, a lot of those different kind of things. And Basecamp is an option. It's not free. There's most of these have trial periods of 14 days that is free, but after that, you have to pay for use of the product. And if you're running a smaller campaign, or if you're just working with a number of activists, it's not bad. It's anywhere, these things run from like $10 to $30 a month. If you're running a major campaign, it can be a lot more expensive. Another example is Nation Builder. Nation Builder does a lot of different things. Again, here you can try it free for 14 days. You can arrange for a demo to be provided. You can manage donations, take money, do email blasting, text blasting. There are a lot of full services. So if you're doing a lot, or if you're running on a significant campaign, you can use one of these. The Republicans in the state, they're using another one. I've forgotten what they call it, campaign something or other. But the point is, pick a platform that makes sense for you. Okay, stop sharing. We're back here. And I'm going to go back to sharing the document. Okay, here we are again. Now again, you're going to want to pick a platform. And this talks about if you're a candidate or running a campaign, or if you're an activist. I'm not going to repeat all of that. But the other thing you want to know when you do a campaign is to always plan backward. Always plan backward when you build a calendar, whatever platform you use. You're going to want to start after Election Day. For example, if you're running a campaign, there is a date by which you must remove lawn signs and field signs by regulation. You want to make sure that's done. You want to make sure that, after all the dust is settled, that you pay your final bills if you have bills. Make sure that you write your thank you notes. All of these kind of things that are done after the election. From that, go to Election Day. Are you going to have an election night party? Plan that. That should be on your calendar as well. But the idea is you plan backwards, because you know what you're going to need. You know what you're going to need toward the end of the campaign. Get out the vote. final voter registration, sign campaigns, these kind of things. And by planning backward, you make sure that you ensure enough time to do all of these things. If you plan from where you are toward election day, things tend to get compressed at the end, and you find that there's not enough time, not enough was planned. The end of the campaign is the most important, so plan the end first. The front of the campaign is also important, but less important, than the end of the campaign. Next, begin with known deadlines and laws. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to go back to my chat. See if I can load things yet. Nope. So I'm going to bring up a different document. And this will be available to you off the training website also. This is the 2022 Secretary of State official election calendar. These are all of the dates that are important. Now, this goes back to 2021, but if we come back here to the end, November, you're going to find lots of different things. Your last election day report is due. Holidays. Last day to deliver a certificate of nomination. I mean, all of these things, we go to November. It tells you when the offices are closed. Ballot changes, initiative petition submission. When the ballots are mailed, when the military ballots are mailed, it's not the same day. Absentee out-of-state ballots, like right here, October 19, first day to mail ballots to voters. October 21, last day to mail ballots to voters. Your Get Out the Vote campaign should start on October 19th and go all the way to election day. This is when the voter pamphlets are mailed. All of these things are important days that should be put on your calendar. Find out which days are important to you and put them on your calendar. So that is the next thing you do. Once you've recognized that you're going to start planning backward, begin with the hard dates that you know what they are. Okay, I'm going to go back to my other one. Okay, quantify your goals. I have a training on the components of a campaign plan. One of the components of a campaign plan is to set your goals. Now, if you're a candidate, your primary goal is obviously to win the election. If you're running a ballot measure campaign, your goal is to pass your ballot measure. But there will be secondary goals as well. The secondary goals, most of the time, will stand up on their own and have value beyond the election, but they will also help to work toward election victory itself. Those goals are things like having media contacts, having donors, having a collection of donors, building a collection of volunteers, training volunteers, those kind of things. Because even if you lose your election, having a network of donors will have value for the next thing you try. Having a network of volunteers that have experience will have value, even if you lose the election, for the next thing that you try. But it's important that you not only have goals such as those that I've mentioned, but you quantify them. Okay, quantify every goal you can. Knock on 500 doors by October 1st. Raise at least $5,000 by October 1st. Whatever goals you have for your campaign, make sure that you quantify them. You have released 24 press releases. You have built 50 media contacts. You have built a cadre of 25 reliable volunteers that have some kind of campaign training. Whatever they are, quantify those goals. And you're going to want to put those things on the calendar. How much time will it take to do to get out the vote? It's from like when ballots are mailed out to election day. Every day on the calendar between those 2 days should have get out the vote work. How long is it going to take to train volunteers? When are you going to do that? What range of time? Okay. Having quantified goals allows you to do several things. One is it allows you to measure your progress. If you have a goal of raising $5,000 and you've put on your campaign calendar when you're going to raise that money, there should be a couple of hours, 5 days a week dedicated to raising money if you need to do that sort of thing. You can measure it. If your goal is to raise $5,000 and you only raised $1,000, you're like, oh gosh, we may have to adjust some things. This isn't going as we hoped. If you raise $10,000, it's like, great, maybe we can add some things to this. And as you make adjustments, you're going to make adjustments on your calendars. By the way, I've got a couple of comments here. Loretta says, we can use this for our election integrity goals. Absolutely. If you're doing neighborhood canvassing to find out if people have actually mailed their ballots or, if they're tracking their ballots, yes, you can use a calendar to plan when you're going to do your canvassing, when you're going to do your phone calls, whatever it is you're going to do. Any kind of a campaign, and not just a political campaign. It can be a commercial campaign, a business plan. All of those things, you can use a calendar like this. But, you're going to want to choose a platform to maintain your calendar, plan backward from the end of the project to the current one, begin with known deadlines and laws, things that you have to observe, quantify all of your goals, not just your primary goals, but your secondary goals, and put down on the calendar when you're going to work on those things, and make sure it's enough time to achieve your goals. You will do that to measure progress. You can't measure progress if you don't have a quantifiable goal. You also need to do that to manage your time, your money, and your other resources like manpower or office time or any of those sorts of things. A calendar is going to help you manage all of those resources. Kind of feeding into that, determine necessary activities and when they should take place. If it is part of your campaign to raise money, figure out how much money you need to raise, and then how much time you need to raise that money, and put it on the calendar. If it means 3 days a week for 5 weeks, put it on the calendar. If you are an activist and you have to balance your work life, your home life, and your political life, make sure all of those things are there too. If you've got to go to your son's grade school play, Christmas play or whatever, put that on the calendar, get it all there. You want to make sure that a calendar not only helps you plan your political activism, but also helps you keep balance in your life. That's less of a concern with a political campaign because the calendar is dedicated just to that campaign. But if you use this as an activist, make sure that you put everything on here so that you're able to achieve balance in your life as well as achieve success in your campaigns. But whatever your activities are, lawn signs, if you want to put up 500 lawn signs, when are you going to do it? Put it on the calendar. And it's an endless number of things. I mean, no matter how hard you're working on the campaign, there's always one more thing you can do. Even if you're not spending any money, even if you are running for the Cemetery Control Board seat number 3, there's always one more thing you can do. But whatever it is you decide to do, it has to be on the calendar, and you've got to monitor the calendar and let it help you through your day the way a watch or a clock helps you through your day. Once it's on the calendar, determine the necessary people and resources. Now, if you have a more complicated campaign, this is where something like Basecamp or Nation Builder can be helpful, because those products do not just provide a calendar, but they also provide to-do lists, project management, where you can assign tasks to people, and where you can allocate resources, including time, money, office space, volunteers, those kind of things. So make sure all of that is on your calendar. Now, if you're using a free calendar like Gmail or Yahoo, what you can do is after you've entered the calendar event, you can go into the description where it lets you put notes in, and you can put down, Joe will do this, John will do that, Jane will do this other thing, and you can do some limited project management work within the free products. There are other products like Microsoft has a program called Project where you can do project management, but I don't really favor that because it's not network capable. You can't share it easily. And also it doesn't typically integrate very well with email products or other such things. So I really recommend you use something like a Google Mail calendar, Yahoo Mail calendar, or a commercial project like Nation Builder or Basecamp. And then finally, be adaptable. There are deadlines and events which cannot be changed. If election day is coming too soon, you're not going to be able to change what day that is. You might be able to change the date of a candidate forum if your campaign is prominent enough to be able to make those calls. You might be able to reschedule something, but appearances, media interviews, you might be able to reschedule some of those things. Some you can't. But always try to be adaptable because things are going to happen in your campaign that you do not expect. It could be that, like a candidate running for Portland City Council, turned out there was a sexual scandal where he was with a 17-year-old boy, apparently. That's going to change the dynamic of the campaign. It might change your media interview schedule. It might change, where you decide to allocate funds for your advertising. Like when Governor Kitzhaber had a late ethics commission accusation, which happened to be when I served on the ethics commission, that could cause you to change your plans. Or, if a medical condition arises where you or a member of your family, requires some special attention, you've got to be adaptable. And so make sure, they say the harder something is, the more brittle it is. So when you build a calendar, realize that it's going to have to change. Sun Tzu, I think it was, wrote that no battle plan survives initial contact with the enemy. And such is true of any campaign plan. A campaign plan is going to have to be dynamic and flexible, and you're going to have to amend it, sometimes even rewrite it. Once you have launched your campaign and things start to happen, not all of which you can control or exercise control over. And of course, you've got the larger campaign plan, and within that, you've got your campaign calendar. And likewise, similar to the campaign plan, your calendar has to be flexible as well. I'm going to also make this document available to you. I'm going to load it real quick. I'm going to stop sharing this, go back to our Brady Bunch screen, and I'm going to load another one. Campaign plan, writing a campaign plan. Some of you have heard my training on this before. It's very short. I'm not going to go through the whole thing today. But if you are a candidate, or if you are a campaign manager, and even if you are an activist that is volunteering on a ballot measure or a candidate campaign, you need a written campaign plan. If you do not have a written campaign plan, you don't have a campaign plan at all, and you're improvising. You might have a structure in your head, but if you're working with anyone, you're not going to be able to, download what's in your brain to the other person's brain. That's what written documents are for. So you need to have a written campaign plan. Also, by writing a campaign plan, it helps you to clarify your own thinking, helps you organize your own thinking. And you'll notice there are some things on here that you'll also find relevant to the calendar training we just went through. Campaign objectives. Your primary objective is to win the election. Secondary campaigns also exist. Things that will help you win, but things that will survive your campaign and have value for the future, like registering new voters, building a network of skilled volunteers, building new media contacts, building a network of donors. All of those kind of things are your secondary ones. You're going to have a district overview. You're going to analyze your district, and from that, you'll develop a campaign strategy. You'll decide on tactics or approaches toward achieving objectives, or tactics. Door knocking is a tactic, for example. Phone calls are a tactic. Speaking to service clubs is a tactic. Writing letters to the editor is a tactic. And you're going to have a campaign organization, all of the people that are going to help you with clear responsibilities, clear lines of authority, and what they will be doing. Then you've got your implementation with rough chronology, and that's where your calendar comes in. You're going to build your calendar where you're going to, your campaign plan is going to be laid out in time, and where your tactics will be marked as to when you will deploy them, when your resources will be deployed. That is where your calendar is. So actually the training today is relevant to number 5. What I think we're going to do is we actually have a fundraising training. We have a budget training. We have a number of different things. And so what we're going to do is break this down into separate training sessions. So you'll be able to do a campaign plan using training you've received on all of the elements of that. Campaign budget, and of course, fundraising. You need a plan to fundraise. It's easy to say, I'm just going to go out and make phone calls and raise $5,000. That usually doesn't cut it. Not unless you've got a really good friend who gives you donations regularly. You can call them up and they'll give you $5,000. It's about the only time when that works. But if you're raising it from people who are giving $50, $100, $25 a pop, you're going to need a plan. You know, who are the people that you know are going to donate if you ask them? How much time are you going to spend on the phone? What days will those take place? Are weekends better than weekdays? What kind of jobs do these people have? Who is retired on my list? All of these things go on your campaign calendar, and you can get as detailed and granular as you want as you develop a campaign calendar. And a calendar too, let me see if I still have this up. Yeah, I do. Okay, I'm going to go back to screen sharing, and I'm going to show the Yahoo calendar again real quick. Here it is. This is, this is a standard calendar format. Days of the week, 30 days in a month. But a campaign calendar can be on a spreadsheet. You saw how the state of Oregon candidate was laid out, or state of Oregon calendar was laid out. It was a list of events. You can do that. You can use an Excel spreadsheet where you can insert rows, delete rows, do all those kind of things to make it. But if you're going to do that, make sure the document is shareable on Google Docs or something like that so that you can use that. Now there's another file we have here, because not all of our trainees are in Oregon. We also have some people who work in Washington. And so I have downloaded the Washington equivalent. And Washington has some nice features. It's a list like you see here, but you can also view it in monthly format, and you can download the calendar as an iCal file. And with that, you can import it into your Yahoo Mail or your Google Mail. That's just a really nice feature. So we're going to post on the training tab. Here, I'll show you where that'll be again. I'm going to stop sharing here. Okay, I'm going to share again. On the westernlibertynetwork.org website, on the training page, scroll down here to where the videos are. And very shortly, like in a few hours, you will see today's training session posted where Janice Dysinger's picture is right now. And there'll be a description. And like right here, there will be a link. And from the link, you will be able to view and download the training document I tried to upload today, but you'll also be able to download the Oregon Official Secretary of State calendar and the Washington State calendar that you can use to begin your planning. So whether you're an activist or whether you're a candidate, this is dynamite, and this will help you a lot. And like all of the training that I provide and our guest trainers provide, this isn't going to guarantee you political success, but I will guarantee you that you will succeed more frequently if you use this material than if you don't use this material. So that is my presentation for the day. I'd like to take a moment here and open it up if people have comments or questions. You will have to unmute your microphone. And I'll take them in the order that I see them. Anyone have a comment? And if they don't, what I will ask is, go ahead, Victoria.
I just wanted to say thank you again for all you do for us. And this is very informative. We have people that are just now finding out about new campaigns, maybe a school board something, or very local races, but this can be so applied to everything. I can't thank you enough.
Well, it's always a pleasure to see you at the trainings, Victoria, and thank you for the kind words. Thank you very much. Let's see, Donna up there, Loretta, yes.
Yes, I agree 100%. Thank you so much. You've come down and helped us with a couple different things down in Roseburg, and we certainly appreciate it. And I am going to use these calendar ideas. We have our next canvassing meeting on, election integrity on Monday. So,
Sure.
And a couple of our members actually are on today as well. So thank you very much, Richard.
Very
I appreciate you.
Now, Loretta, I look for any excuse to come down to Roseburg. So if I can do any presentations before your groups, we have 7 topics that we're focusing on this summer, and I'd like to come down multiple times if possible. So if you can arrange anything along those lines, please let me know.
Oh, wonderful. Yes, definitely. We can do that. That would be wonderful.
Yep. We need to set it up soon because, what I've been telling people is if we wait until August and September to do training, it's too late. We've got to be able to give people multiple opportunities to get exposed to this information, because 5 people might be able to go on a Thursday, 6 people might be able to go on a Tuesday, and it might require some repetition. So to have people ready to hit the ground running when the election cycle picks up in earnest come mid-October, September, we need to have the training already done. And that means we've got to set the dates and the planning right now. So any of you who—
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yep, any of you who are members of groups that you think would benefit from training, please contact me and let's set up as much training as we can out in the field. We'll augment that with online training, but nothing beats a live training. And calendar spots are filling up, so I urge you, if you think this will be of value where you live, to act on it as quickly as you can. Let's see, Donna, I know, has been here a lot. Kathy, Donna Maria, Tim, I know you're a state legislative candidate. All of you, are there any questions or comments that you have before we call it a day? Okay, I don't see any, so we will call it a day. I want to thank you all for being here, and for those who are watching this in recorded format, I want to thank you for watching the recorded format. You can contact me most easily at rpbcentral@gmail.com or 503-970-1876, or you can contact me or anyone else at Western Liberty Network by going to the westernlibertynetwork.org website and clicking on the organization page. You can send us an email directly on that. So with that, I will say have a good week. We'll do another training next Saturday, and God bless you all.